Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Kirsten.
Welcome to IVF Babble TV.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Definitely.
What time is it there at the moment? Because you're in London, is that right? In the UK?
We're just south of London. It
Mhm.
is 8:45 in the morning.
Oh, wow. Okay, so your day is just starting and mine is winding down because it's 5:45 here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So, because I can see you've got some nice sun coming through the
A
through the
tiny bit. We've had a
yeah.
very overcast and rainy May so far, but
Oh
yeah,
no.
sun this morning. Yeah, it's been dreadful.
Oh no, because it's starting to get really cold here because we're obviously heading into winter. So like it's just like in the recent weeks, it's like starting to get pretty cold and miserable and it's completely dark now. So
Oh no. Well, I'm hoping we get a little bit more heat and sunshine, but it's kind of cold and
yeah.
miserable now too.
Yeah. And at least it's great that your restrictions have now started to lift as well, like the COVID restrictions.
Yes.
You guys had it
It's
tough.
been
Oh,
it's been ongoing for a really long time.
yeah, so hard. Like it's yeah. But anyway, we digress. So thank you again for coming on today. You are a fertility coach, Sandy, and you are going to be talking to me about fertility coaching. Can you start by giving me an overview of what coaching is and specifically what fertility coaching is?
Sure. Coaching, I think in general, is something that has been created to help people, whether it's through life or through their business, their career coaches. They kind of help you reach your goals by helping you visualize them or making a plan, kind of putting things into action. They're kind of a cheerleader to gear you on to reach those goals. And I think for
Mm.
fertility coaches, it's a little bit different. Of course, we obviously want to help you reach that goal, but that's not something that we are able to guarantee or provide. But however, we are there to look at the sort of the whole picture of fertility and kind of help with lifestyle or mindset, or for me specifically, often look into the more scientific side of things, as my background is in embryology.
Oh,
So I
wow.
definitely, yeah. So I help people mostly through IVF treatment, as that was my specialty for very many years.
Wow. Well, actually, that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask why you decided to get into fertility coaching and what your background was. So you're obviously embryologist. How many years were you an embryologist for?
10 years.
Oh,
10
wow.
years.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I think, having worked with over thousands of patients during my career, we get a certain insight to how they perceive IVF treatment and things like that. But to be completely honest, it wasn't until a friend of mine was going through IVF that I truly realized how difficult it could be. And I then discovered this sort of amazing TTC community and all of the sort of support groups and networks out there. And I thought that possibly being a fertility coach would be a good use of my sort of scientific background and knowledge,
Mm.
and help kind of people bridge that gap which exists currently between people going through treatment not having enough emotional support from their clinics, perhaps,
Mm.
maybe not even understanding truly all of the procedures and what's going on and things like that. So that's when I decided to
Wow.
become a coach.
That's a great combination, actually, because I think when I was going through my fertility journey, so we went through infertility for 6 years, and our son was born through surrogacy in 2019. But I think you're absolutely right. Like it felt like there wasn't always a level of patient care. That was my experience anyway. It felt like it wasn't very hands-on, or an individual was kind of like in and out a little bit. And so there was the unknowns, and often I just like resort to Google to find the
Absolutely.
answers, and that's not always a great idea either. But it's like in the absence of that kind of one-on-one specialized care, you kind of just decide to Google instead. So
Of course. Yeah, I'm sorry your journey was difficult. I think that is unfortunately the case for a lot of people going through the fertility journey, whether it is trying to conceive, on their own through timed intercourse, or whether it's going through IUIs or IVF and things like that. There's not a lot of support out there, or at least from hospitals, clinics, guidances like that. And I think that's why coaches are now a bit of a growing profession to exist there alongside, just like a complementary therapy.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
know it's an interesting position that I'm in. I think, having worked in units and now working as a coach, I can kind of see why sometimes that level of support isn't there. And a lot of the time, clinics are understaffed. We don't have the capacity to be there for the patients the way I personally think we should have been. Also, I think there's a certain level of trying to be possibly as, professional, and not to say clinical and cold, but not partial, to give the best treatment possible.
Yes.
So in a way, it is hard for the reproductive specialists to also be that guidance and to be someone's best friend along the journey. And I think, again, like, that's why all of these complementary therapies are growing. So there are, acupuncturists, or even doing yoga or preconception massage and things like that. It's a really growing thing, to be able to have someone who is that best friend or that cheerleader in your corner, and that coach kind of guiding you on and helping you along the way.
Like a whole team of people behind you.
Exactly. Because it is very complex, IVF and trying to conceive in general. And I think it is a large puzzle, and sometimes you need help from multiple places to get those puzzle pieces together.
Definitely. How long have you been a fertility coach?
Officially, less than a year. I launched my business in July last year, which was a horrible time.
Congrats. Oh yes, well, yes. Everyone in lockdown.
Yeah, the plan was actually, because I was doing my sort of coaching qualification, and I was doing some other courses, which were then put on hold. I was meant to launch in sort of April last year, but we went into lockdown mid-March, and everything was just up in the air. So yeah, I had to kind of put things on hold until I could, finish, get my certificates in place before starting.
No, fair enough. Because correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know that so we started trying in 2013, and it was 2015, I actually started to see a psychologist, and she was amazing. So she, did a lot of hypnotherapy. She used cognitive behavioral therapy, and she helped me a lot. She was absolutely amazing. But, she was obviously seeing a whole lot of different people for a whole lot of different reasons. So, she wasn't specialized in fertility, and often I would be sort of updating and educating her about fertility. So she'd be like, oh, that is fascinating. Like, she found it so interesting, all the different parts and the treatment and that. But in 2015, I wasn't aware that there were fertility coaches. I didn't ever see anything. I don't know if I wasn't looking hard enough or it was just Australia, but has fertility coaching become more popular in recent years, or has it been around for ages and I just wasn't aware of it?
To be honest, I don't know the answer to that either, because, and again, I don't know if that's my naivety or possibly ignorance, but working in IVF, I had never heard of a fertility coach before either.
Yes, I've never heard of it.
No, there are, I think there are, because it is such a community, and I know lots of other coaches now since becoming one. I feel like I've seen some who have been coaching people for about 10 years or so. So I think they exist, but I think it is very niche that not many people know that we exist.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it in the last couple of years. Like in the last couple of years, I've seen a few pop up, but I feel like it's only been the last like 2 or 3 years that I've noticed. Whereas again, like 6 years ago, I don't know, just 6, 7 years ago, I didn't see any. So
it's possible that there weren't very many at that time. But there are also, I think, one of the tricky things as well is there are no real proper courses to do to become a
Yes.
fertility coach. I know there are coaching courses that focus on fertility, but they focus on very different aspects of fertility.
Okay.
There are courses that are more directed towards mind-body fertility, which can give a fertility coaching qualification. And then there are courses that focus more on nutritional health and things like that. So there are courses available, and I think that that's what has been possibly relatively new, that has been producing new
Yes.
coaches.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
I did a life coaching and a neuralistic programming certification, because I felt with my fertility background, my background in IVF, that would be suitable for coaching my clients.
Definitely. And again, I think just back when I was seeing this psychologist, and again, I found her so immensely helpful, but I also found talking to people who are going through infertility so helpful as well, because I feel like it's the old chestnut of no one really understands what you're going through unless you have a background in it or you've been through it. And so to have that combination of, you know, having that support, that counseling, but also someone that knows the, you know, has the expertise or the experience is, I think that would be so valuable.
Yeah. One important
really
an important thing to remember is I am a coach. I'm not a therapist in that sense. So there are still differences between those two. And I think there are counselors and therapists who specialize in fertility and very much fertility trauma, and they will help process your traumas that you have associated with fertility or fertility journey. Whereas coaches, I think, focus on the future and what's to come rather than that. Because to be completely honest, we're not qualified to do that. We tapping into previous trauma and helping process that is for licensed therapists.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Well, on that then, could you talk me through, I suppose, you know, some of the key services that you offer and how the counselling looks? And I mean, are your sessions face-to-face or are they virtual? I'm guessing quite a few virtual these days. Is it group sessions? Is it individual? Do people do things online? Like, I would just love if you would give an overview of, you know, the service that you provide and how it looks.
Yeah, of course. So my plan was always to do either virtual or over the phone appointments, even before last year happened.
No choice.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to launch a new service that would have face-to-face things, and that was going to be coming in September this year. But we'll just have to see what happens in the world, and I'm not sure if that will be, I'm not sure it's realistic, but no, it is one-on-one. I don't do group coaching. I know there are lots of group support sessions that are available, some are for free as well, so I don't really tap into group coaching. And yeah, I think everyone's journey is very different, and the support that people need is very different, so the things that I offer will also cater to the needs. It's very tailored support. So I have had clients who are sort of thinking about starting a family, and they, you know, have either done a fertility MOT or not, and they're wondering what the next steps are. I've had clients who've gone through a couple of rounds of IUI and don't know their next steps and felt like they were being pushed to start IVF right away and wanted to talk to someone about it before proceeding. And then I think the majority of my clients are either going through IVF or have had a few rounds of IVF and again don't know their next steps, what they should do, what they should focus on, what add-ons they should have if they should have any. And I think that also comes from a little bit of, I'm not going to say distrust from IVF clinics, but you know, you've got a doctor or a nurse telling you that, you know, the next time will be different, we'll plan your cycle differently, and we'll add these things on, and that should do it. And then I think many people who've gone through IVF one or two times when it hasn't worked, they're like, but how will we know the next time will? So a lot of people just want a little bit of reassurance that maybe their doctor is telling them what's right is actually right. And then of course we always look at the emotional aspect of things as well. And like, how are you feeling? Like, where is your head? And like, again, lifestyle and nutrition are quite big things that we talk about as well, trying to get people in the best position possible for either starting IVF or in the best health possible for going forward in treatment or preparing for an embryo transfer, things like that.
Great. So is it like if someone was interested in starting some counselling, do they do, I mean, I think you've kind of touched on this, that kind of you tailor to different people's needs, but just typically, would it be kind of like a weekly session? Is it like a 1 hour session, or is it just, it can just be as required by someone, and it's either, you've said, over the phone or like we're doing now, like over Zoom? And
so I have sort of 1 hour sessions that you can book just a one-off, or a package. And the packages are normally good when you are going through IVF, and that's to sort of prepare for every next step that's coming. And those sessions are either 30 minutes long or 1 hour, sort of depending on what the next steps are. But yeah, so I've had a mixture of both.
Yeah, no, that's great.
People who just want that one-off session to kind of go over everything, or people who want that guidance throughout treatment. And those sessions are over a few weeks because they are alongside the IVF treatment.
Yeah, perfect. Yes, I mean, I know, again, personally, when I was going through it, I felt like it at times felt very overwhelming, and it felt like a lot of information. And you just didn't know like where to start almost.
Exactly. And that's it. I think a lot of people who have gone through IVF say like it's having a second full-time job, because all of a sudden you're going through, I mean, millions of, papers and consents that you have to sign. You're trying to take it all in, and that's hard in itself. And then you're rushing back and forth to appointments, or whether it's monitoring scans. It is all consuming. It really is. And I think not enough people know that going into it. So it becomes overwhelming. And then that adds to stress and anxiety. And I think a lot of coaches will talk about mindset. And we do, not saying that you have to stay positive all the time, but it's kind of finding a good balance where you're going through it, but you're not feeling scared and anxious all the time. Because I mean, it's impossible to feel positive all the time. No one is, and it's not like stay positive, it will be fine. It's more along the lines of trying to like manage expectations, and at the same time manage your own emotions, and try to make the journey easy as possible.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good way of putting it, because I think, again, just on my own personal experience, I found it was almost like a level of self-protection that there's no way I could go into a cycle going, this is definitely going to work, I'm so positive, this is going to be a great outcome. So
absolutely, you have to protect your heart in a way, and you can be cautiously optimistic, but at the same time you don't know what to expect. And I think just having a little bit of encouragement and a little bit of support to help you keep hope, but also to manage realistic expectations. Like, it's really hard to do that yourself. And it's kind of good having someone in your back pocket, or just in your ear, usually going, this, we're working on this together. I'm here for you. I'm here with you. Let's talk it through. Because sometimes even just having someone there, confirming that, you're taking loads of hormone injections, you're not crazy. Like, I have so many, and I'm sorry, I've had so many clients like, I feel absolutely insane. You're not crazy. You're going through IVF, like you're injecting yourself daily. Like, of course you're having a hard time with things. Of course it's hard to balance, life, work, relationships, maintaining friendships and going through IVF. That's normal. Like, please don't be hard on yourself. And I think sometimes being able to validate someone really helps the journey as well.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Just knowing that your feelings are valid, what you're feeling it's fine. And because I know I had a mix of emotions as well, where yes, there were times I'd feel overwhelmed and anxious, but I'd also feel sad, or I'd feel guilty, or I'd feel jealous, like
Yeah,
whenever there was a
absolutely.
pregnancy announcement, and then I'd feel like a bad person. I'd feel guilty because I was jealous of a friend,
Yeah,
so it's good to then be able to talk to someone that would say, no, that's okay. Like, you're not a bad person if you feel sad or jealous about a pregnancy announcement. That doesn't make you a
no,
bad person. you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, just
It
having that
is
validated a bit.
it is a very hard journey, and I think most people won't know that until they've gone through it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's
As
exactly
much
right.
as the sort of, I mean, the community is amazing, and I think there's so many people who are trying to raise awareness for, infertility issues, and raise awareness for how hard the journey actually is. But it's getting there, it's growing, but it's not,
Yeah.
of course, it's not reached everyone yet.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just important for people to know that there is that support available should they need it, and that, yeah, it is hard. It is hard, and it's okay to feel all of the things.
Thanks. Exactly. And Sandy,
Yes.
what do you enjoy about being a fertility coach?
Oh,
Like, what do
that
you
is a
find, satisfying about your job? And
I honestly, it's very similar to when I was an embryologist. I like helping people,
yeah,
and I want people to walk away from our sessions feeling better, whether it's better about
yeah,
themselves, better about their journey, having a plan, knowing
mm,
how to move forward, and that makes me happy. And of course, the
yeah,
the end goal for everyone is for my clients to have a pregnancy, but that is, of course,
yeah.
that's nothing I can guarantee. And I
No.
think I think if someone is guaranteeing that, then I would be
Yeah.
very wary of, of
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
but yeah, I want people to feel better about their journey after
Yeah.
working. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And do you talk to people from all over the world? Like, I'm assuming it's not just the UK
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I've had global clients, and I do a mix of Zoom, so video sessions, and sometimes over the phone sessions. So I know for many people, giving up all of these details about their fertility journey or their IVF journey, it can be it's very personal, and some
Yeah.
details are very intimate, and some clients prefer not having the
Yeah.
video on, and
Yeah, of
it's
course.
just to
Of
give them
course.
that additional sense of privacy. So
Yeah.
I offer both, because I want them to feel comfortable in the sessions,
Yeah.
feeling open enough to
Yeah.
talk to me, of course, but at the same time not feeling weird or scared about
Mm.
sharing their details and things like that. So I've had a mixture of
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, actually. Want people to feel as comfortable as possible, be
Yeah.
themselves, and
And I mean, some of my clients, I do also do like a little sort of meditation exercise towards the end, and
oh,
that's
nice.
often better doing over the phone, so you're not staring at a bright screen when you're
Yes.
supposed to be like having a nice sort of relaxing, kind
Yeah.
of wind down after a session before ending it. So sometimes over the phone can be better.
Yeah. Oh, I love that meditation. I find meditation so relaxing.
Yeah. Some people don't like it, and that's absolutely fine. It's nothing that I
Yes.
push on people, but I think it can
Yeah.
be, especially if you've opened up a little bit, and you may have felt like a release, but you also might be a little bit sad, going over
Yeah.
all of those details, having a little bit of a wind down to kind of get it a little bit more zen before
Yeah.
finishing. That's often a nice
Yeah.
way to finish a session.
Amazing, amazing.
Mhm.
So Sandy, I know you have an Instagram
Yeah.
page,
Yeah.
which I've seen. So, and your Instagram tag is just your name.
Sandy Christiansen _ Yeah, it's my name and an underscore.
Excellent, excellent. And if someone was interested in contacting you, should they do it through the Instagram, or do you have a website, or what's the best way for someone to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. No, either way. I respond to messages in my Instagram inbox, and I do have a website as well. So there is a little link tree in my bio to reach my
Oh,
website.
great.
And
Yes.
there's a contact form there. I do have a newsletter, but those are separate because I know some people don't want to be bombarded with loads of emails. So if they use a contact form, then they're not signing up to the newsletter. They can do that separately. But yeah, lots of ways. My email address is on there as well, so people can contact me without going through the sort of the contact form. So yeah,
Great.
all
Excellent.
there.
Lovely. Well, Sandy, before we finish up today, I just wanted to check if there were any final comments or thoughts that you wanted to leave us with.
Well, yeah, I just want to share to everyone out there who is going on the journey that, it is hard. And there are lots of ways to find support if you need it. And you just have to find the right fit for you. So whether it is a complementary therapy or coaching, counseling, an actual therapist who specializes in fertility, you have to find the support that fits you, and don't be afraid to reach out for it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely not alone in it. It can be so
Yeah,
isolating, but you're not alone in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. This has been hugely valuable and informative, and I'm
Oh,
sure many
thank
people
you.
who are wanting to know more about fertility coaching will find this
Yeah.
really useful. So thank
Oh,
you.
so thank you, Kirsten.